Hi everyone, it's Nicole again with Soulful Sounds, and I'm just trying to be a joyful noise in the world and offer some short little videos, hopefully 10 minutes or less, of different, I'm trying to adjust myself here, of different tools in the toolbox that you have, help you reclaim your power and put your focus back on yourself, where all your power is. And so today's topic that I hope is going to be serving is, are you an empath, and how is it holding you back? That's a huge topic, and like I said just a minute ago, I'm only wanting to give 10 minutes or less, so we're just really gonna brush the topic of this, brush the surface of this, and there are many, many layers. So what is an empath and how is it holding you back are the questions. So if you were listening to this, you are likely an empath. Basically, if you're breathing, you are likely an empath. Because we have these senses inside of ourselves that we don't acknowledge, and we don't use, and we don't learn. They're instinctive, and so we don't need to particularly learn them. But it would be like speaking and singing and playing ball. Like, we have all of these natural abilities. Anyone can throw a ball, but through practice and time, you can get really, really good at it. So it's basically the same thing here. So again, we have these abilities that we don't really use, but they are a very primary form of language for us. So think about when you were a baby, or think about children, very small, who don't have the ability to formally communicate, but you'll hear people say over and over and over again, animals and children have the best character, or have the best judge of character. And that's true for the most part, because they're not using communication the way that we use communication. They're using their empathic abilities to communicate with the environment they're in to make sure that they're safe. And so typically a child or an animal can sense somebody's inner feelings, inner self, much, much easier than they can when they start using language, because in a lot of ways language disables some of those natural instincts and some of those natural abilities. And so all of us typically then are empathic. All of us can feel the feeling of another, and we use this very instinctively when we're young, and then we grow out of it as people condition us to ignore these natural gifts that we're given. So how we've just discovered then, yes, you're an empath. It's highly likely you are an empath, because everyone can feel the feelings of someone else to a level, to a degree. You have definitely walked into a room and felt a vibe in the event of an argument with friends or family. And you have definitely, a time or two in your life, I will say most definitely, have met someone that really resonates with you and that you have an instant connection with, like you feel like you've known for years, because there's something about them energetically that you can relate to or resonate with. So typically these are the skills that we come to the planet with already, and sometimes abandon. And how do those hold you back? Well, like I said before, oftentimes we're not trained in them like we are with throwing and running and eating and speaking. We're not trained the way we could be with these abilities. And so as we grow in our life and we reach new experiences, there are experiences that are positive, and there are experiences that are negative, right? That teach us that we are less than, not enough, too much, whatever the case, right? So in these experiences, this is where our ego starts showing up with stories, right? And the ego's not bad. It's not a terrible thing. Everybody has one, and it's there to serve you as well. But its main goal is to keep you safe, and sometimes based on the experiences you had in your past, its judgment of what's safe or not safe can be a little bit skewed. So here we are. We're in the inner room, and there's been a fight. And how being empathic, we know there's a fight, we can feel it, but we don't like call it to the table. We'll internalize that information and be like, oh, it's weird in here, it's awkward, they're upset, they must be upset at me. What did I do to make them upset? What did I say that could have been upsetting? What do I need to do to make this better? Right? And so then we start creating the story about how somehow this feeling in the room is a feeling that we have created and that now we are now responsible for, when in fact there is no responsibility to us or for us about this feeling, right? And that's how being empathic oftentimes gets a little sideways, is because we don't acknowledge that we're empathic, and then because we don't acknowledge or we don't have the abilities to work with that energies or work with those energies, and we have these experiences that have already enforced in us that we're not enough or too much or whatever in some way. Now we've got this feeling, we have our intuition that is working, and our ego comes in right on top of that intuition and creates an entire story that typically doesn't serve us in any way. The drunk monkey is back on board, right? And that's why I wanted to create this video again today. Because this is where, when we start feeling the feelings and we start understanding what is ours and what is not ours, what belongs to someone else and what belongs to us, and we start creating those boundaries, which I struggle with. I will be honest, I'm a Pisces. Pisces naturally struggle with boundaries, right? Like, I want to help everyone and give them all my stuff. I just do. Like, that is really inherently who I am. Like, I just want to, whatever you need, I have it, you can have it. So I'm definitely working on that inside of myself as well. Yet, this is where the empath and the ego, when they intertwine in this way and we don't really understand that they're intertwining with each other, this is where it can get very, very tricky, very, very mucky, and very, very sticky. And so, what are some action steps that you can take in these situations to help give your power back to yourself, to help reclaim your power? So, one of the first things that you can do in a situation like this is say, what am I feeling? And is it true? What am I feeling? And is it true? And the reason why I ask that is because obviously there's going to be something in the room, and you know, even sharing your feelings, there's nothing, like, that's another action step. You could actually share your feelings. That is another viable action step. But a lot of the times we walk into a room, we have a feeling, we have a reaction, and we never even address the feeling itself. So what am I feeling, and is it true? So learn to identify what you're feeling and whether or not it's true, or is it a story that you've just created. Have you validated the story with anyone else, or have you just decided that everything that you've just told yourself is absolutely true? And then you can kind of, when you get into that space of what am I feeling and is it true, it's like you're getting back in your body and you're really grounding yourself in the moment. And then the third action step is to really just share the feeling, right? Like, hey, I'm feeling this certain way. Is there something going on that I need to be aware of? And then really kind of just be in the moment, be back in the present body, right? Be in, again, take your power back, reclaim the power of the presence in those spaces and see what happens. It's a really cool way to play with the world, you know, and it works in a lot of different situations. So, you know, even if you're not with other people, if you're having a feeling or you're having an emotion or a response, you know, asking those questions, what am I feeling and is it true, really does bring you back to presence pretty much instantly. And then you can really kind of reason, step back from that feeling a little bit and just observe that feeling and really reclaim yourself in that moment. And something that I've used forever. I hope it's helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments about what I've just shared, please comment below or message me. If you have any ideas for other topics or questions about this topic that you would like me to elaborate on a little bit further, by all means, comment below. If you find that this video or other videos that I've done are helpful, please share them with others and give me a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you so much for agreeing to journey with me today, and